Prologue. The date was August 17, 1990. It was about 4 p.m. in the afternoon when the taxi Robert took from Causeway Bay reached the Kai-Tak International Airport. He immediately proceeded to the restaurant in the departure area, where a college friend at the University of the Philippines, a Thai named Pramayang Chayad, was waiting very patiently. The Thai, who had been doing business in Hong Kong for 2 years now, was sipping coffee when he arrived. Robert's irritation was apparent on his brow. "Hello, Robert." Prama stood and shook hands with him. "Hi. How long have you been here?" Robert asked. "Just a few minutes," he replied as he sat again, smiling, lively. Robert also sat down. A waitress approached them for Robert's order. "Just coffee, please," Robert told the waitress. Turning to Prama, he asked, "So, why are we here? Who's the VIP we're going to meet?" "She's a friend since high school. A wonderful person. You'll see her later," Prama replied. Prama called him up in his office in the Hong Kong Standard, where he had worked as a reporter of the Daily. He told him that they would meet a VIP, a very important person. The VIP would be flying to the United States with her husband at 6:30 p.m. aboard a Cathay Pacific plane. The couple would be in the airport between 4:30 and 5 p.m., so Prama asked Robert to be there before 4 p.m. "How's business?" Robert asked. "Pretty good," Prama replied. He had been managing a family import-export business. They had exported fruits and flowers to Hong Kong, and imported cameras and videotape recorders. The business compelled Prama to travel to Hong Kong 4 to 6 times a year. "And you? How's work?" "I have to write at least 2 stories per day. Journalism is a demanding job," Robert replied. "Well, Hong Kong life is fast-paced. Why did you choose to work here, by the way?" "There are a lot of dailies in Manila. That's one problem, a lot of newspapers. Competition in sales is tough, and most papers are going down the drain. Some have become virtually political mouthpieces to survive. When sales are down, you don't expect management to raise wages, do you? It has become difficult to make a living out of journalism in the Philippines today. That's the reason why most journalists are in the payroll of politicians, becoming PR or public relations men in order to survive. I couldn't stand that, so I came to Hong Kong." "Your economy is dipping," Prama stated. "Pretty badly. And there are several reasons why. There's the December 1989 coup d'état. After the coup came a severe drought. Then the energy crisis happened last summer. Follow that up with the July 16 earthquake. And now, the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. Many Filipino workers in the Middle East have been displaced. And the oil price has skyrocketed. Is there no light at the end of the tunnel? I don't know. I really don't know. Prama, I pray that one day we can get over the hump, so to speak. You know the Philippines. You once lived there as a student. It's a beautiful country. Our natural resources are ample. Our technocrats are plenty. But something important is lacking somewhere. Maybe it's our attitudes. Our values as a people need to be changed. You'll make it one day. Thailand has made it. That's my wish, Prama. For the sake of our future generation, I really hope we can make it." The waitress came with a tray of coffee and cream. "Thanks," Robert said. He put some cream in his coffee, stirred it and asked, "What kind of fruits do you export?" "Mangoes, oranges, bananas, native fruits. We have wide areas of uncultivated land in the Philippines. If only those idle lands could be planted with fruit trees, we could also become a major worldwide fruit exporter. We have good graduates from UP Los Banos." "Sure. Do you know that many of our agricultural technocrats in Thailand are graduates of UP Los Banos? Proma asked. That's what I heard, Robert replied. He didn't know whether he would be proud or embarrassed. The Philippines should develop its agriculture. There's money in agriculture, Proma said. True. But doing so is a tall order, Proma. Communist insurgency is one big obstacle to agricultural development. How can farmers increase productivity if they live with the threat of the NPAs, New People's Army soldiers? Another obstacle would be government priorities. President Aquino is more interested in building an 80 million peso bulletproof hideout than in supporting farmers, Robert lamented. I thought she was no Marcos. Proma wondered. Well, power corrupts. It corrupts a person's values. Proma looked at his watch. It was already 4:20 p.m. I think we better move to the Cathay Pacific booth. They may arrive at any time now, Proma told Robert. The latter took a last sip from his coffee cup. Proma paid the bill and walked out of the restaurant with Robert to the Cathay Pacific departure booth. By the way, where are you billeted now, Proma? Hyatt. Where? Sim Sha Tsui. No. Hong Kong side. Grand Hyatt. Uh-huh. There's a Filipina singer there. She has a wonderful voice. The best in Hong Kong. Her name is Nikki Oi. She arrived in Hong Kong last year. Have you heard her sing? Not yet. Maybe I will. The Cathay Pacific departure booth had not opened yet. Passengers queued for inspection. Proma looked again at his watch. It was 4:25 p.m. Maybe they're on the way, Robert said. Proma nodded. The booth opened at 4:30 p.m. Attendants had begun checking passengers' travel documents when the couple that Proma and Robert had been waiting for arrived. Proma. It's nice of you to be here, the lady said vibrantly. Proma put his hands together, as if he was about to pray, and bowed before the lady to show his reverence. I wanted to see you off as I told you, Proma said. Meet my husband, Ted, she told him. Sweetheart, this is Proma Young Chayad, a high school classmate and brother of Jitina. He is doing business here in Hong Kong. Hello Proma. Nice to meet you, the American said as he shook hands with him. Same here. Proma replied. By the way, ma'am, this is my friend Robert de la Serna. He's a Filipino journalist working here in Hong Kong. Hello, Robert. It's a privilege to meet you, the lady gaily said. Same here, ma'am. Ma'am. How do they call you? Robert was curious. Apasra. Mrs. Apasra Johnson. Robert looked at her with admiration. She was so charming. Her eyes sparkled with expression as she spoke. She had a well-proportioned nose. Her long hair softly framed her sweet face in curls. Her spotless complexion glowed like polished ivory, and she walked and stood regally. She spoke English eloquently. To Robert's estimate, she was about 5 feet 4 inches in height. She was in her mid-30s. My husband, Ted, the lady introduced her spouse. Hello, sir. Robert said as he shook hands with him. Hello. Nice to meet you, Robert. Ted excused himself to line up for the baggage checkup. Attend to them, dear. I'll take care of the baggages. By the way, please give me your passport and ticket. The lady turned over her travel documents to her husband. So, how's business, Proma? Fine, ma'am. When are you going back to Bangkok? Maybe next week, ma'am. That's good. And you, Robert? How's your work in Hong Kong? A little difficult, ma'am. But I'm learning to cope. I've been here for more than a year only. You can survive. I'm pretty sure you can manage. I have Filipino friends in the US who are very successful. Filipinos are intelligent and hardworking, the lady said. Thank you, ma'am. Robert's elation was real. Prama said, you're a journalist? Yes, ma'am. I'm working as a reporter of the Hong Kong Standard. It's a very good paper, the lady said. Thank you, ma'am. That's very kind of you, Robert said in appreciation. How's Manila? I was there once in 1979. I stayed in Manila Hotel. It was near the bay. The Philippines is a beautiful country. And Filipino women are beautiful. That may be one of the convincing reasons why Prama went to Manila to study, she kidded. The two men heartily laughed at the joke. We're having difficulties there, ma'am. I'm sure you'll make it through in the long run. Every nation goes through a crucible once in a while. Growth has pains. A baby falls down in his struggle to walk. An athlete endures pain in the process of training. In the same way, a nation encounters difficulties too, as it aspires for growth. For progress, the lady said. Thais are more fortunate than us, ma'am. Well, we also had our baptism of fire. We had a series of coups d'états, droughts, corruption, the things you have been experiencing now. Yet, we came through. But we looked inward first. You too will make it. But first, you must look inward. The conversation went on until Ted came back to them. Honey, I'm through. I think we better get to the immigration early, Ted said. Gentlemen, it's my pleasure meeting the two of you. I hope this isn't the last time. Our pleasure too, Mr. Johnson, Robert said. Prama, write us, will you? You know our address, the lady said. Yes, ma'am, I will. Bye, Prama, Mr. Johnson said. Bye, Mr. Johnson. Take care. The lady took out a necktie pin and a pen from her bag. Prama. Here. For you, she said, giving the pin to him. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. And this is for you, Robert. You'll need this one, since you're a journalist. The pen was a gold-plated Parker. Ma'am, no. Robert was hesitant to receive the gift. Come on. It's just a little gift. So you'll remember me whenever you write, she said. Robert recognized the sincerity of her offer. Thank you, ma'am. He was very appreciative. After the lady handed her gifts, she took her traveling bag and walked with her husband to the immigration booth. Robert's curiosity about the lady grew. When the couple was gone from their sight. Prama, who is she really? Prama smiled. She was our princess, the eldest child of the royal family. She would have been the successor to our king. Was a princess. What do you mean? She's no longer a princess. She's a commoner now. Why? You want to know? Of course, I want to know, he replied with eagerness. Where are you headed now? Prama asked. My work's already done for the day. I'll have time for your story. Okay then. Let's go to Hyatt and get a bite to eat there. I'll tell you her story on the way. From Kai Tak, they took an airport bus to Hong Kong Island. When the bus left the airport, Prama began his story. End of chapter.